everybody, it's me, Nate, aka Devil Dog, and you've seen the thumbnail. Yes, it is true. I actually got to go and see an advanced screening for The Batman. And this will be a spoiler-free review of this movie. I wrote some tidbits down to help me throughout this because, boy, oh boy, what can I say about this? Now let's get right to the first part, the nitty-gritty, the common sense reasoning, which I wrote down here. It was directed by Matt Reeves, who is well known for most of his movies that he directs are really decent, really good movies. And naturally it stars Robert Pattinson, which a lot of people were protesting against as Bruce Wayne / Batman. You have Zoe Kravitz, who plays Catwoman. Andy Serkis actually plays Alfred Pennyworth, which really shocked me when I was watching this movie. I'm like, holy crap, that's Andy Serkis. That's Golem. They got Golem as Alfred. And boy, Alfred's kind of a deep character in this. I think he's more of a serial killer than the main guy, but I'll get to that. Colin Farrell plays the Penguin, which he doesn't like being called that. I don't know about Cobblepot. And of course you have, the main guy, whatever his name is, playing the Riddler. Now, this movie was heavily delayed due to COVID. In fact, it got delayed 2 times, and it made it take well over a year or so before it finally comes out. But it will finally release in theaters and on HBO Max, I think it is, on March 4th, 2022. Now, keep in mind, if you go into this expecting it similar to the Christopher Nolan Batman series, while it does share some aspects in terms of the grittiness and the down-the-level realism, it's not, okay? So don't expect it to be that. This movie is pretty much taking place in a rebooted Batman timeline. And to let you know, this is very early on with Batman. He's only roughly about 30 years old in this, and he's only been being the Dark Knight for about 2 years patrolling the streets of Gotham during this movie. Now, basically, as he's doing this, all of a sudden, really famous people that are rich and stuff start getting murdered, so he ends up teaming up with a couple other people, getting in touch with Gordon. It's a rather gritty detective quest that he goes on to figure out who the killer is and why he's killing these people, the reason why he's doing it. And along the way he does meet up with Selena Kyle, who in this is basically a waitress / drug dealer / cat burglar. I think she even works for the Penguin, but I shouldn't get into that because of the details in it. And, it's kind of a love-hate relationship, and she's like a femme fatale in this, to where while she does work together with Batman in certain parts in this, you can tell she's also doing it for her own motivations. So there is a decent amount of double-crossing going on in this, and a lot of stuff you would expect. I mean, the thing is about this movie, I was actually pleasantly surprised. Even though it's a long movie, the pacing was quite well. I actually enjoyed it all the way through this movie, and it is very grounded, very dark and gritty. I mean, a lot of gritty realism. In fact, they even say, like, the Batmobile, unlike the ones in the previous movies where it was some big tank or some giant thing like that, this one, since they wanted everything to look like Batman actually built it himself, you didn't have, like, because I always said that about the other Batman movies. It's like, okay, who are these people that you're hiring to build all this stuff? And they do talk about what Lucius Fox and stuff in the other ones. Well, in this one, it's pretty much Bruce Wayne doing it. And that's why everything has a gritty, more realistic feel to it, including the Batmobile now is a muscle car. And the thing that I thought was really cool is they even said this, that Matt Reeves and the writers of this wanted to make the car harken back to a horror movie villain. They wanted the car to have an identity, so they kind of based the new Batmobile off of the Stephen King Christine car. That's right, because they wanted it to come off as having, being its own character. And I really didn't get most of that, but at the same time when you watch it, you're like, okay, this car, you could actually go, oh my god, it's like possessed, even though Robert Pattinson, Batman is actually driving the car. Now, if you watch this movie and you're wondering, like, this kind of seems like it has some odd flavor from like some comics, it does have some representation behind it. It's kind of loosely based off of Batman: The Long Halloween, if you ever check that out, and it's basically very similar in tone of the this movie's in very similar to that. In fact, that's where they kind of got a lot of the ideas and why they ended up picking the Riddler as the main villain in this. Like I said, it is severely grounded in a very serious and dark tone, and unlike other Batman movies where it does still have some comedic jokes and stuff, this does have a little bit, but most of it is very serious and grounded and dark. I mean, really. And this movie is 3 hours long. 3 hours long. It honestly only felt like a little over maybe 1.5 or 2 hours long, because even though there's a lot of long drawn out scenes, the pacing, it actually works in this. I actually really like it, because this movie, the best way to describe it is, don't expect it like an action spectacle like a Christopher Nolan Batman movie. Going in this combining it's a serious tone. Take the movie Seven and almost have what I call Bat-Noir. Film noir. It's like Bat-Noir. That's the best way to describe this, because honestly, that's really what it is. It is a detective story with a heavy focus on these people being murdered in messed up ways, and a lot of Seven feel to it. So it's really gritty and dark and rather disturbing, and I really kind of like that. It's played very, very serious. Now, the other thing is, even though Colin Farrell really isn't in this movie that much as the Penguin, he does play a pretty decent role in it and has one of the best, scenes, hands down, in the whole movie. I'm not spoiling it for you, okay? It is really, really cool. I'm just like, oh my God. And he plays the Oswald Cobblepot almost like a Soprano or Al Pacino, okay, which is really cool. It to me, I wouldn't know that this is even Colin Farrell unless I knew it was Colin Farrell. You can't tell. It's like, holy crap. I mean, he knocks it out of the park, and I wish he had a bigger role in this movie, but still, nonetheless, he does play his part and has a really kick-ass scene, and oh my God, that's so cool. The only thing is, no offense, but he doesn't smoke a cigar or nothing, and I'm like, come on, man. You got a movie with a serial killer going around murdering people getting broken and beat up, but you're worried that if he smokes a cigar or something, it might make kids try to smoke. Come on, that's stupid, people. Now, a couple other things, though, I have to say is the costumes are really great, except for the Riddler. His mask is terrible. It's I'm going to say it looks stupid to me, and I think it does a disservice to the actor that plays the Riddler, because he does like voice modulation and stuff like that in this movie, but it covers up too much of his face. I wish I would like to see him emote more, and this mask he wears makes it to where you really can't see any sort of emotion from him, and that bothered me. I wish they would have opened it up to where I would have been able to see more, but once again, not that much. Now, like the Catwoman outfit, that makes perfect sense, because she ain't got money. It literally looks like she just made it herself, and she would have, so that does work. Now, fortunately, the other thing I have to say, hands down, this is not your average Riddler, okay? He's not going to be laughing a lot. He's very dark. Honestly, he comes off as a Zodiac killer. In fact, I think that's what they base the character off of, is the Zodiac killer, because just his mannerisms, his behaviors, and the riddles that he sets aside while he's murdering these people is actually quite disturbing, and that's why I'm saying it reminds me of a Batman noir film set like with Seven style, in the movie Seven. It really is quite dark and disturbing, but it doesn't dive deep into the massive gore, so it's not like Saw or anything like that, but it does have some pretty disturbing scenes in it. Now, the other thing I really like is the fact that they don't handhold you in this. You don't get to see Bruce Wayne's parents get killed. There is a slight scene in it, but they don't show that, thank God. Thank God. They have the common decency to realize that we know who these characters are at this point, even though this is a different world timeline of Batman, to where they don't go into major deep backstories on like Penguin and Riddler and stuff like that. You progress through and you find out about the Riddler, of course, but honestly, I like that. There's not severe hand-holding in this, and that really does help, because and then it lets you just get into the damn movie and not have to spend a bunch of time retreading a bunch of stuff that most people already can figure out. Now, Batman's attitude, Robert Pattinson, I'm sorry, he knocks it out of the park in this. For all the people out there that were trying to protest to get him removed from this movie, I think he knocks it out of the park. He doesn't talk hardly at all in this movie. Even when he's Batman, he doesn't talk hardly at all. When he does with his Batman voice, it's really low and deep and very good. It's mostly told with actual expressions and stuff. Good acting. And that's one thing that I can actually say. He knocks it out of the park as Bruce Wayne. It was fantastic. The other thing is, like I said, this is a detective story. If you're going into this to see some big blockbuster action fest, it's not that. It is a deep-rooted detective story, not a mystery, okay, because you're not going to be able to figure anything out. You're going along with Batman and the rest of the people as they're trying to figure out why the Riddler is doing this to these people, and it's got a pretty decent story. And really long, drawn-out scenes that really let you actually understand the world and everything that's going on in it. And honestly, hands down, it is going to be slower paced than some of the other Batman movies, but even though it's a slower pace and it's a 3-hour long movie, it's got so much stuff packed into it, and it's very intriguing. Like I said, the only real nitpicks I have is I don't like the Riddler's mask, and I didn't like that the Penguin didn't smoke a cigar. Now, think about that. If that's the only nitpicks I can say about a movie like this, it's interesting. And like I said, I didn't want to spoil anything because, honestly, this is a fantastic movie. I like this movie. I am surprised by it. It's way better than I thought would be in a million years. It's intriguing. It really encapsulates the detective aspect of what Batman really was, and it's nice to see a take on him this early on in his Batman career where he makes mistakes, he's still learning, and honestly, all the characters' performances in this are stellar. And when it launches on March 4th, go to the theaters. It works so much better when you see it on the big screen. Honestly, people, go to the theaters and watch The Batman. It's a fantastic movie, and I cannot wait to see if they plan any sort of sequels to this series. I want to see Robert Pattinson back again as Batman. He knocked it out of the park. This was Nate, aka Devil Dog, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching this video. Please leave in the comments below what you think about the Batman and if you're going to go see it on the 4th. Leave lots of comments below so I can answer each and every single one of them. And remember, I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.